Okay guys, a quick update on the Impala, the 61. So you see here I mounted the vintage air evaporator unit in. What I'm trying to do is get a bunch of stuff in here while the car's in this position on the rotisserie so that I can, clean up all the firewall stuff because, I'm not going to need a lot of the things that were originally there, and I got to punch a bunch of holes and do some other stuff that, to accommodate some of the changes that I'm making. So I got the evaporator installed. Those are the two heater hoses, and I still have to do the high and low pressure AC lines. And then I also plugged the old fan motor opening. Vintage Air gives you like a plug-off disc with some kind of weird clamp that's kind of cheesy, so I welded it in instead. So over here, I got the steering column put in. I cut a new hole for the painless wiring bulkhead because I'm going to use, I like the through the firewall bulkhead for this because I'm not going to hide all the wires. This is going to be, more of a driver than a, like kind of a driver rester rod instead of a, show car. So I also have these, this is the, for the brake master cylinder. What I did is I took the original assembly manual and I went through and I located what all these holes were for. So this one was, it didn't really say actually what this hole was for. I think, maybe like some gauges. But the original, when I took the car apart, this had gauges, for the aftermarket oil pressure and temperature sending unit that came in through here. This was the speedometer cable, which I'm not going to need. Anything that has to leave the cabin, wiring-wise, is going to go through here. There's a whole bunch of these little holes right here. These are for the firewall mat. I'm not going to use those because I'm not going to put a firewall mat in. I'll probably do something like, sound deadener material on the inside. And then this is the e-brake bolts. So that kind of tells me what the rest of this stuff is for. So like you see right here, heater cables, that's because the heater box was actually mounted right here. So the cables came from inside out to here. So these holes I marked, this is for the AC mount, so keep those there. And let's take a peek inside. So here you see I have the painless wiring, the bulkhead fuse block mounted. I really wanted to mount everything in here just to see, what kind of modifications I might have to make. This is the e-brake right here. See, it's pretty close. Where is it? Right here, but it's not touching. It's an I did it column. It was a scratch and dent with a little bit of rust on it. I'll fix that up and make it real nice. I put the dash piece in so that I can make sure all that, it fit with the steering column in case I had to do some changes there. And you can see under here, oh, it looks pretty good. So here's the brake. This, obviously it's on automatic. Over here is going to be the drive-by-wire gas pedal that came with the LS3 controls and wiring harness. So what I'm doing right now, actually, you know what? I'm going to take you over and show you what I'm doing right now. So I'm printing up on the 3D printer like a fixturing block just to, get the fitment. So this block right here is going to mount to the firewall, and then we'll mount to the gas pedal. I drew it up in Fusion with the original, with the aftermarket, if you will, the aftermarket gas pedal. So I'll show you why I had to do that. All right, guys. So this is the LS3 fly-by-wire, drive-by-wire gas pedal. So in the instructions from GM Performance, it tells you approximately how to position this gas pedal. So it should be something like 2.5 inches from the brake pedal and 2 inches below the height of the brake pedal. But you can see it, we're quite a ways away. So what I have to do actually is I have to bring the mount out here about 2 inches to get, so it's going to be something, it's going to be something like that up there, and then that would properly position the gas pedal. So in order to do that, I need to make a temporary block, and then I'll machine it out of aluminum and bolt that to the firewall. and then I will fill in. That's the original hole right there for the gas pedal. So I'll get that all cleaned up and get this firewall sealed up, and then I'll take all this stuff out and finish the body work. I started on this side. You know, I've got all the rough end on the other side, so this side I just again going through and doing a little bit of body filler. So you can see it's actually quite thin. I haven't sanded this yet. You know, I've got a couple spots here that you can see where I marked it, so this has got to get body worked down a little bit. Over here, this is all pretty good. We've got, you know, a little bit of touch up to do, and that looks good. So yep, I'll just keep plugging away, and you know, when I get this this little fixture done for the gas pedal, I'll show you what that looks like. Boy, those 3D printers are handy for that kind of prototyping work, because, you know, be a real hassle to make that thing and then find out, you know, you got to tweak it a little bit this way. I've already made one and made a mistake on it and had to tweak it. So I'll show you, actually I'll show you what went wrong with that. Okay, so this is the first one that I printed up, and what I forgot to do, I'll set that right there. So this guy will mount, where am I, right here, right? So what I forgot to consider was, see that little bump right there? So the bottom of this thing is not flat. So what I did is I went back in to Fusion and I added a recess here all the way through, so that this part, where am I at? This part right here could drop down. Yeah, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, you see how it's sitting on there, so we don't want that. I also, if you notice, I've got a spot right here that I've got to raise up, so I made that change as well. So I'll show you when it gets all done. It's kind of, you know, that was a fun thing to do. It was a quick draw up in Fusion. I think like a 3 or 4 hour print, but it's okay. It's better than making a part, you know, in aluminum, doing all the machine work, wasting a lot of material, and then having to scrap the part. Okay, guys, I'll keep you posted. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you the mock-up that I did for the LS3 drive-by wire gas pedal. So this is that part that I made on the 3D printer. So this is like the second or third iteration. I made a couple minor changes, but basically, in order to get this gas pedal to fit correctly with the brake pedal you saw before, it needed to be mounted 2 inches off of the firewall. I had a trim right here. I trimmed this piece because it interfered with the steering column, and then over here, you know, I did those sort of like bump outs that followed the you know, the bolt pattern. The reason I did that, just to, you know, kind of shrink the size of the thing so it doesn't look too clunky. And so it's really rigid. It works great. So I'm thinking that this is, I'm going to call that done, and I'm going to use that 3D printed part. I did a 30% infill, so it's actually quite a heavy part. It took 15 hours to print. I don't have the fastest printer, and I'm happy with it. I think it's going to work perfectly fine. So I'll keep posting as I move along here. So we're getting a lot of the details out of the way. You know, things that I want to sort of mock up, test fit, so that when I pull everything completely apart and actually paint the body shell and start bolting things on, I don't have to drill any more holes. I have all my wires routed, so anywhere where I want to, you know, like say screw in cable tie clamps and all that kind of stuff, all the little fine details, they'll all be done. So it'll just be a quote-unquote simple assembly job when I go to put all these parts together. So that's it for the gas pedal. See you soon.